Welcome to Pathways to Aviation. It's day 2 of our 4th annual Aviation Career Week. It's an opportunity for the industry to come into our home and meet with our students, our candidates, our active job seekers to learn more about the industry, gain some tips about careers and that they can apply to their own career journey, and then also learn more about what's going on in the industry, learn about the journeys of our guests, all of that. And today is dedicated to pilot careers. And earlier we met with 3 amazing panelists and our moderator who shared some insight about the industry, what's happening with recruiting pilots, and some tips. They gave a lot of tips from presence to readiness when you go into the interview. Well, right now we're meeting with an organization that I think is well known to every pilot, and that's the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. But we're particularly interested in learning more about Aopa's high school curriculum, STEM aviation curriculum, excuse me. And with us is Eric Yates, who I believe is the man in charge of that program. And we're going to just have a quick discussion about what Aopa is all about, what Aopa is doing for high school students or any young person, and what opportunities might be available to those young people to pursue their aviation career. So Eric, welcome to Pathways to Aviation. It's amazing to have you.
Thank you very much, Pete. It's great to be here. I'm happy to talk about our program and career opportunities, because that's really what we're all about: opening students' eyes to aviation opportunities, to give them some ideas for careers that maybe they didn't think of before.
That's amazing. So why don't we just start by learning about you? What are you all about?
Sure. Well, you know what? I think, like a lot of the students that are in our program, when I was a kid and definitely in high school, I thought I was going to be an airline pilot. My dad got his private pilot license when I was about 5 years old. So I spent a number of years going for that $100 hamburger, as they say, taking short flights out to little airports and getting a nice lunch. Life became life for my family, and he got away from flying for a little while. But when I was 13, we went out to one of the local airports, and I saw the tow planes and sailplanes out there and said, "Hey, think we could go for a ride?" So, yeah, sure, let's do it. And that was it. I got hooked. I started my flying journey with lessons in sailplanes, and that quickly turned into regular flight training, and then I got my private pilot certificate while I was still in high school. My favorite part of that story is that I actually had to have my mom drive me to the airport for my flight test, because I was getting my pilot certificate before my driver's license. So that was pretty funny. But after that, I spent each summer earning a new rating or certificate. So it was instrument rating, commercial certificate. I got my flight instructor certificate. I went on to earn a multi-engine instructor and multi-engine instrument instructor certificate. And that was all through college. And once I graduated from college, I was working full-time as a flight instructor. And that was great. It seemed like a good way to build time, shoot for that airline job. But, at the time, the airlines weren't really in need of pilots. They had all the pilots they needed, and entry requirements were super high. And it just didn't seem like I was going to get the flight time I needed, or the type of flight time. So I started going to school at night. I got a master's degree in education and teaching, and I got into that. And that was a nice compliment, I thought, to instructing, because it certainly opened my eyes to good instructional practices. I was able to bring a lot of that into the cockpit with my students, so that was nice. I also, at that time, was building hours and went for my ATP certificate, so I ended up with that, just in case an airline job came along. Then I got a job teaching full-time, and that allowed me to instruct part-time, but still make a living wage. At the time, it was hard to make a living as a full-time flight instructor, but it worked out really well, I think, for me, because I was able to have a foot in both camps. You know, I had a nice job teaching, and a great experience flying on the side. Uh, Fast forward a bit, my wife's also a teacher. We taught overseas for a while, and then uh, I saw a posting for working at AOPA, developing high school curriculum for aviation classes. And wow, the perfect blend of my two big interests, teaching and flying. What could be better? And fortunately, we hit it off. It was a good match. And here I am, writing awesome courses for students in high school to help them learn about aviation.
And still flying?
Still flying, still flying. My dad graduated from renting aircraft to being in a flying club while I was doing a lot of my training, to finally buying a twin. So he bought a Piper Aztec, and spent a lot of time flying that with him. He still got it. It's based in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So you know, we're a little bit far from each other, but you know, it's a nice thing about working for AOPA. They encourage you to fly. So fly from Maryland to Pennsylvania, get in another airplane, and go tooling around.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit more about AOPA.
So AOPA has been around for over 80 years now, and they're the world's largest aviation organization with, I think we're over 375,000 members across the globe. And it's really all about advocating for safety and being able to have the freedom to fly like we do in the US. I mentioned before that my wife and I have taught overseas, and honestly, it's a real eye-opener to be living overseas as a pilot. The restrictions are pretty tight. You know, even though there is general aviation in you know, England, Germany, France, believe it or not, China. We've also lived in the Middle East. It exists, but at a level that's so restrictive and expensive that it's really unattainable. So what we have here in the United States is an amazing thing. And you know, I really like our mission to be able to protect that and promote it and support it.
We'll get into the curriculum program in a minute, but what are some opportunities that exist right now for young people who are just starting their whole pilot phase?
Well, if you're interested in flying, like if you think you're interested in, one of the greatest things would be to ask your teachers, principals, if we can get if you can get the AOPA, even high school aviation STEM program into your school, because there are lots of cool things to do there. But barring that, you know what? Head out to the airport, because nobody loves talking about flying more than pilots. And you know, you may be sorry you asked, because you know, we love aviation so much. We love flying. We love sharing the joy and the thrill of it so much that, you know, we'll welcome you in, we'll talk to you, we'll share with you, you know, offer rides. You know, a lot of people who own airports are welcome to bring students in. You know, if you need that first job, how about working at an airport? You get to make some amazing contacts working the line at the airport.
And I know when young people become members, they receive a magazine and some other benefits too, to kind of help inspire them or motivate them to continue their journey. Is that true?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that is an opportunity for students. We do have free memberships for students. So we have something called the Aviators program, which is for younger students to join. And then students who are a little bit older can get a free membership as well. And that gives you access to all that AOPA has to offer. If you have questions, you can call into our Pilot Information Center. You have access to our amazing flight training magazine. I still read it voraciously now, because they have such awesome graphics and explanations. It's great as a way for me, even with the experience I have, to refresh my memory and maybe look at things from a new point of view. So it's that magazine. We, as you mentioned, our Pilot magazine, which is our mainline publication. And there are tons of newsletters. We have flying club newsletters, flight training newsletters. We have newsletters for drone operators. It's, you know, it runs the whole gamut.
Yeah, it's amazing. And back to your suggestion about just go to the airport. Well, now when you go to the airport, if the pilot asks, well, you should join Aopa, and the kid can say, I'm already a member. I'm already receiving the benefits. Now they have a
Absolutely.
born-in, like a connection, almost like it's a larger fraternity, if you will, that now it's like a warm situation. They can have a conversation. They could talk about issues that they may have read or posts that were on the website or things happening with the
Yeah.
organization. So it fosters a lot of that relationship building, which is what we at Pathways really thrive on, is, you know, relationships and networking. And if you join AOPA, then what can that do for you? Just beyond the benefits, the immediate benefits, could launch your whole professional network.
Yeah,
So
that networking component is super important, Pete, and it reminds me of one of the benefits that we have. I mentioned the Pilot Information Center a moment ago, and that in my mind I was thinking about our call-in center where you can call and ask some experts any question. But we also have an online version of the PIC, the Pilot Information Center, and people can see answers not just from our experts, but from experts who are AOPA members. And I've often seen conversations go on where somebody will offer, "Hey, where are you? What part of the country are you in? You know what? Let's meet at the airport and talk about this more. Or, come and see our club." Flying clubs are another great way for students to get involved with aviation, because flying clubs are really social aviation organizations, and they love spreading the word about flying, and they have some really great events, sometimes competitions, sometimes flyouts. It's really a nice community to be involved with.
well, in the mentorship that comes through those flying clubs,
Yes,
it may not
yes, yeah,
be in their name or their whole quest or their mission, but it happens, and that's
definitely.
valuable. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And
All
that's,
right.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you're making me think of a lesson. We just made a teacher workshop video about careers in aviation. And we spend a lot of time encouraging the students to get mentors. We have a big project that they do at the end of their journey called the Capstone Project. And, they get to pursue any aviation interest that they want. And, we're pushing all the time. Get out there, talk to people. There are tons of mentors out there just waiting for somebody to help.
Yeah. And what I love about that, the mentorship piece, is that the mentorship can either be um, forming, formal, scheduled out, meetings over a series of time and achieving certain goals, or they can just be regular conversations,
Yes,
that runs the whole gamut.
it sure does. Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me about your STEM curriculum program.
Well, this is a great program for high schools because it's it's kind of like Lego. You can take a couple pieces here or all the pieces and build whatever you want as a school. Uh, I think one of the shining components of our program is our introductory course. We think of it as like a grade 9 course when we look at the full breadth of 4 years of high school. And this is a way to really get a great overview of aviation. We look at some history of aviation. We look at engineering and design practices. It is chock-a-block with hands-on activities. You're building a wind tunnel. You're building and testing airfoils in the wind tunnel that you built. You're building hot air balloons. You're building heavy lift rockets. It's a Martian space habitat and testing it in a vacuum chamber that you can probably get from your physics or chemistry department at school. It's a really exciting year of curriculum and activities that brings aviation alive. And by the end of that program, that year, you're hooked. And so what's next? Well, we got a couple of years that kind of work together. The 10th grade and the 11th grade work hand in hand to get you ready for a private pilot knowledge test from the FAA, or perhaps your remote pilot knowledge test from the FAA. And if you think about the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge that the FAA publishes, it works in sync with that. But again, we're not just going through the book. We have proprietary lessons where there are presentations and activities. We've got students building model hydraulic systems, model electrical systems. I mean, these are things that exist on aircraft, right? So we have to build them and see how they work. What are the scientific and mathematical principles behind what is making us, fly through the air. And so, so we really get in there and give students a deep understanding of what aviation and the engineering behind aviation is all about. Now, I mentioned one of the exams that the students can take is the Part 107, the remote pilot test. And that's kind of a dual pathway, if you will, in that third year or 11th grade. We have a pathway for pilots to follow, where we really finish up 11th grade with the knowledge they need for the pilot test, and then the UAS pathway, where they can take that remote pilot certificate. And then we also have a 4th grade year, the 12th grade year, where we touch on some of the advanced topics in aviation, like instrument rating, commercial aviation. But that's where we really dive deeply into the wide range of careers in aviation. We've touched on careers and building a portfolio throughout the 3 or 4 years, but we really hone in on it here, because what we want students to understand is, maybe you love aviation and you think, okay, I want to be a pilot, but I don't want to be an airline pilot. Do I have to be an airline pilot? That's actually one of our lesson names. And the answer, of course, is no, because I know you promote a lot of the ISTAT videos, which are amazing. I think those are fantastic insights into the wide range of careers in the aviation world. But we always tell students, you know what, if you can think of a career, guaranteed it exists in the aviation world. Right? I mean, who designs the paint jobs on the aircraft? Graphic designers, right? Who designs uniforms? Fashion designers. It's all out there. Who puts the reservation system together? Coders. It's all there, right? If you just love being around aviation, but you like something else, it's easy to put them together. And we really try to promote that. We also promote entrepreneurial skills. We talk about building a business. What is it like to start a business? And then we get them ready to go out on their own and experience aviation, find a mentor, pursue a topic, an interest in aviation that really interests you. And then we have them participate in an event at the end of the year where they get to showcase everything they've learned.
Wow, you just gave me a brain full. So there may be some instructors out there, educators, that thought this whole curriculum was just for flying.
Oh,
And
no.
you're exposing them to everything, which is that's what we sing every day. You can be, like you said, I can't think of a specialty, a role that you can't play in the aviation industry.
Yeah.
I mean, food service, art,
Mm-hmm.
photography, it's all there. So it's great to hear you sing that as well, because we're constantly preaching that to anybody who comes through our doors, right?
Great.
Virtually or in person. If they have an inkling of interest, or a lot of times we encourage them towards aviation, they can apply any of those skills that are maybe right now applicable in one area, but certainly transferable into this industry. So it's amazing to hear you talk about it from that perspective. Tell me about how many schools is the curriculum planted in right now? What's the vision?
Yeah, we're at over 200 schools right now across the country, and I think we're up to 38 or 39 states now. So we're creeping in on all 50 states. We're in front of 8,000 plus students across the country. So that's how many students are being exposed to aviation through our curriculum. It's pretty impressive. And every year, if anybody is interested in finding out more about the curriculum, other than visiting aopa.org and going to the high school curriculum pages, we have an annual symposium. That's our annual conference. This year, it's going to be in Orlando, Florida, the 15th and 16th of November. And everybody's welcome to come on down and learn more about the curriculum, and experience a bunch of workshops where people are talking about what they do with the curriculum and how to help students find their niche.
I attended the virtual symposium it had. It was in November, I believe.
It was, yep. Yeah.
Blown away. I don't know what I focused more on, if it was what was happening, because you guys had it well orchestrated with amazing MC. But I was also watching the chat, and all the schools that were interested in getting more information. I was blown away. And then they were talking careers and how do I pursue careers and things like that. So I even chimed in on Pathways' behalf, but it brought this energy, and I thought that was amazing. I just assumed that you guys were, in a lot of schools. I didn't know it was 200,
Yeah.
and you're talking to 8,000 students. And what is that number in 2 to 5 years? Do you have
Oh, wow.
visual?
Yeah, that's we're looking at growing to like 300 to 500 schools in the next couple of years. We're seeing so much interest. It's growing exponentially. Schools and teachers and students are really finding out about all the opportunities in aviation. And there are great needs, as you all know, of course. And we need schools to help fill those needs.
I talked to 2 schools alone last week, and I turned them on to AOPA because
Thank you.
they have, they're looking for what you have. That's not us. So we're connecting people to you now, or schools to you, so that you can thrive, because ultimately the student will be the beneficiary of that amazing information. And then we get to help that student like make it shine so that they can pursue college or any kind of education that they want, or straight into a career. And it's like a perfect relationship, right? And so
Yes.
that's why we're constantly promoting you guys in the curriculum, because to students as well. We get one complaint, which I'm sure you guys get all the time, and that's the individual student who will call up and say, how do I gain access to this curriculum, or how do I tap into it?
Mhm.
And if their school doesn't have it implemented in their curriculum, there's not a whole lot that, well, at least we can do.
Well,
do you have any advice for them?
Oh, absolutely. And it's easy because the advice comes in just 2 words. It's free. We are, if a school needs a new math program, right, they're going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on textbooks and materials and all that. Okay. We have the most incredible donors. We're completely donor funded. And so we're able to offer this curriculum, it's everything. So you could tell your teachers, it's all there. It's planning guides, it's material lists, it's lesson plans, it's slide presentations, it's student activities, it's all the assessments you need. Everything is there, available electronically, so you never have to lug anything around. And it's available to schools for free. The only thing they have to spend money on are the materials for activities. And fortunately, we've been able to craft the hands-on activities in such a way that either they're using materials that the school already has, or the cost is minimal. Maybe $1,500 per school year per course. Really nothing when it comes to a school program like that.
That's amazing. I know that we helped write standards for the state of Nevada 3 years ago for this particular specialty, and it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is a lot of work, but I can't imagine what the schools are going through to write the curriculum. Well, you guys just bring them the curriculum,
Yeah.
and it's likely tied to that state's standards, or that
It
school
absolutely
standards.
is. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we were talking to somebody in Nevada not too long ago, and so we had to look at those standards. So good job. We liked what we saw, and it looks like our curriculum matches pretty well. So any schools in Nevada, go for it.
Well, we just need a few more. We have one. We just need a few more, and we're talking to those schools on a regular basis, whether they're in Nevada or they're in other states. I have one in New Jersey that I'm going to report to you, 2 of them that I'm going to send you right away, because they could utilize the program. And we have a lot of candidates in New Jersey. And so let's help them help themselves by implementing those programs in the high school level.
Great. That's my old stomping grounds, actually. That's where I learned to fly.
And that's awesome. And your dad's still there in Allentown. So an amazing city.
Nearby.
So you have the curriculum, the students go through it. What are you seeing on the end? Are students pursuing their careers? I know they're prepared, but what are you guys starting to see? What kind of results?
Well, you know what? It's really interesting because our curriculum is actually quite new. This is literally the 4th year. So our first cohort of students who have been through the prior 3 years are going to be graduating this spring and summer. So we don't know too much about where they're going next at this point, and that's a huge project for us moving forward. We're working on ways to gather that data and find out not only what exams did they take to build their stackable credentials, but how did they do on those exams? What are they thinking about for career moves next? Are they going to go a trades route? Are they going to go a college route? Are they going to have some kind of a blend? And so that's a big question for us, honestly. And if we could turn them on to pathways, and you guys can follow up, it would be great to hear how they do.
Well, and that's certainly what we've been discussing with you guys over the past few months, is that we track everything. And we do it so that if a student is pursuing a scholarship, they're able to manage those scholarships in our system. And then that allows us to know. And if we're part, we could pull reports and say, okay, we have so many applying for scholarships. We have so many living in New Jersey. We have so many who want to be professional pilots, or somebody who want to be in avionics. And we do the same for any schools that they're attending or applying to, and same certainly for jobs, but we love to track. And so, yeah, those students can definitely use Pathways to Aviation as their next pathway to pursue those careers or those scholarships or those college or trade school pursuits.
Great. You mentioned scholarships, and I think that's super important, because we also, through those generous donors I mentioned, have an amazing scholarship program. We're able to give away $1 million a year in scholarships, and it's $100,000 and extra zero there. Whoops, the math guy, too many zeros. But we give away 100 scholarships every year, and we just finished a round. So now's the perfect time if somebody's interested in applying for a flight training scholarship or even an advanced training scholarship. Whether you're a teacher or a student, you can apply. The scholarships, the applications will open in the late fall. So keep an eye open for that. And then there's about a two-month window where we are accepting the applications. And then it'll be next late winter, early spring that we announce.
Yeah, we had them on we have like an event calendar, and we promote all the deadlines for the scholarships. And then we promote the scholarships. So we knew about yours. And we kept funneling students to apply. We don't know if they all applied, but hopefully they all win. And we even had a workshop just before your deadline that coached students on how to apply for scholarships. So just like when you're applying for a job or going for a job, we want them to shine for those scholarships. So it's just, God, what you're talking to me about is amazing. We could talk forever. Is there anything we haven't touched on that you'd like to share with respect to AOPA or the curriculum program?
Well, we're talking about careers, and we're talking about AOPA. Well, we have jobs as well, and I would encourage people who are interested to also look at what the offerings that we have. I checked just before the meeting, and we've got a couple of customer service opportunities for people. One is in our member services department, another is in our legal department, helping people who call in, and they're ways into the organization, right? It's a way to get your foot in the door and be a part of an organization that actually does do a lot of hiring from within. So if you're able to get an entry-level position, it could be a long career. I've been here a couple of years now, and I'm amazed at the number of people who have been here 20, 30, even somebody who recently retired 40 years. It's, people love this organization. It's a fantastic place to work. We even have some flying benefits. So it's a pretty special place. And, we talked earlier about other interests you might have and working in aviation. We have a need for a digital marketing specialist. So, if you're into coding and programming websites, we've got a place for you. And there's also a marketing specialist. We have to get the word out to people, right? And so if marketing is your thing and you love aviation, Yeah, maybe we have a spot for you.
Are you talking to me? Because Eric?
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know if Eric Henry is, you know, he's waving his resume around.
It's a big resume, but yeah, my background is business development and marketing and sales. So, golly, I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the symposium. If for the teachers who are on this call right now or are going to watch the recorded version, are they allowed to attend the symposium?
Absolutely. Oh yes, it open to anybody. Yeah.
All right, and because I'm sure you guys are already talking to a lot of schools, but the symposium would make for a great forum to bring everybody in to have this conversation.
Yes.
It's
a
how
huge
can
networking opportunity.
how can we help you reach out to more schools?
Well, any connection to a school that you've got, we'd love to have you promoting the symposium and sharing the gospel basically of networking. I mean, you know how important that is in your work. And what we hear from teachers time and time again is how important this attendance at the symposium was for them to make contacts. The last one we had in person in 2019 was in Denver, and we were at United Airlines training facility. So pilots were walking around, people from United Airlines in all the different jobs were walking around and meeting teachers and connecting. And a lot of teachers learned through firsthand experience about all the different careers in aviation. And, I mean, United Airlines, no matter what job you have at that airline, you have some pretty amazing benefits. And, that's a big attraction to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's attractive to me. Got a question that came through chat. And I can't remember where you live specifically, but can you apply for these jobs that AOPA is offering and work remotely?
You know what? That would be something to ask the hiring manager if you get called for an interview, because we actually do have quite a few remote workers. And that existed prior to the pandemic even. So AOPA has some amazing work opportunities. We've won awards for the workplace environment. So it's definitely worth applying even if you're not here at home base in Maryland.
Yeah, it's one thing to be surrounded by amazing people in a nucleus, but to find the right talent, maybe you need to go out of the area, and working remotely is a great way to do that. So I appreciate the answer to that question.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Any parting comments? Because I know we're both busy, and I don't want to keep you all day because we could be here all day. But anything you want to share about AOPA, the curriculum?
Well, like we said before, take the time to go to aopa.org, poke around. We've got tremendous resources, so many that are free and really helpful in a variety of ways, not just learning about aviation and safety, but learning about what's going on in the industry. But go ahead and join, become a member, take advantage of some of the benefits, and get out there. It's one of these things where you're welcome in this community. I don't think there's ever been a more welcoming community than aviation. If you show interest, people are going to take you under their wing. They're going to show you their airplane. They're going to show you their business. They're going to share their insights with you, and you're going to make some pretty amazing connections. So get out there and start talking to people.
That's exactly the message that we share. Networking, networking, networking. And what do we say? It's not who you know, but who knows you. And so, make a name for yourself out there, get connected, meet the right people. And that's where AOPA and Pathways can come in and provide that resource and those connections to anybody looking for a career or just flying as a hobby or anything in aviation.
Oh, yeah.
So, Eric, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us today. You've been a great addition to our Aviation Career Week, and I guarantee your phone will be ringing here very soon from me to talk more about the what could be's.
I hope so. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It was wonderful to be here, meet you guys, and talk about all of this. And I hope we get to chat again real soon.
We will. Eric, you want to close us out?
Oh
Eric
boy,
with the C.
I'd
Oh,
love
the
to
other.
Eric, close the Eric out. That sounds like a plan to me. And at least we've got the spelling almost perfect on our name. So that's
That's it.
But Big E, thanks again for carving out the time and sharing some fantastic insights and giving everyone an opportunity to understand what Aopa has to offer and
Thank
where to go. So that was great. I was excited to see they have capstone projects because I think that's a great way not only to learn about different aviation sciences, but also to promote themselves and get a chance to learn how to publicly
Yes.
speak and get in
Yes.
front of other people. I think
Oh,
that's
yes.
fantastic. Love that.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
well, thank you so much. And
You're
guys,
welcome.
we're out of here in 3, 2, 1. Have a great week.